Shout out StatGuy.
The MAJesty.
Oh my goodness. It's professional wrestling.
1,000% confirmed. Not Mage.
Stay Mage and enjoy yourself.
It's Cheap Heat with Peter Rosenberg, featuring StatGuy Greg and Dip.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard to Cheap Heat Live, Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. I'm your forever 24/7 champion, Peter Rosenberg, coming to you from the final time, at least for now, on my in my current location in the 70s. As of 2 weeks from now, I'll be all the way up in the 90s. A different world, guys. The Upper West Side in the 70s, Upper West Side in the 90s. It is, I mean, years apart. Coming to us from his very serious and scholarly-looking office. I like this look for the physically strong StatGuy Greg.
Well, thank you, P. I'm glad you like this look. I have court later today, and I don't feel like setting up and then switching the setup so that I can look professional later. So I'm just going to keep it professional right now.
I actually think this is like kind of made for the brand, Dip. What are your thoughts?
I gotta say, my whole life I've been struggling to figure out what all these degrees are behind these lawyers, these doctors. I see these degrees. Who knows what any of these things are? What do they say? They say nothing. Blah blah blah. Summa,
lots
kuma,
of blah
whatever.
blah blah.
It's
Summa cum blah blah blah.
Yeah. It's a bunch of nonsense, is what it is. It's a certificate of Schmegeggyville. That's what it is.
Well, either way, I still like this look though for the lawyer. This is the right look.
And it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. You might as well put it up on the wall.
That's exactly right. You pay hundreds of grands for those blah blah blahs.
Yeah, your artwork costs hundreds of dollars and it's on the wall, so mine might as well.
I didn't get a plaque for 35 in the Hollywood Reporter, but I did have one made, of course, and it has hung in my office. So I guess that's the that's the equivalent, the Schmegeggery equivalent.
I don't want to start beef so early in the podcast, but your 35 under 35 plaque was made and is on your wall before the 24/7. Was right.
Yeah, it sure was. Instantane, dude. Instantane. And I want Dip to know, I'm just laying down the gauntlet right now. If one of Dip's newer wrestling clients were to like win some sort of grand thing and they were to get that thing like framed with the picture and I were to lose mine, and I were to still not have mine, I should say, Dip he'd be gone before the thing was hanging on the wall. I would hire his number one nemesis as my manager. It would be the ultimate feud like you've never seen before, all because he got someone's title thing framed before the 24/7, which is I don't know where it is. It's in the beach house now, just sitting in its jacket. It's very, very sad what's going on here.
Let me just comment for a second. Let me tell you something. I know Peter Rosenberg almost as good as anybody. Okay, I could see already they're not ready for this move. There's Schlock and Michigas behind him 1,000%. They haven't packed one thing. They're moving in 2 weeks.
Packing.
There's nothing going on.
I'm not packing.
You're not packed. You're not taking clothes. Not taking.
No, I'm not. A Gentile man will come help me do that, and I will watch and go. Great job.
You're not even packing. You're not packing personal effects on your own.
I will probably grab like my watch and like my glasses and like a handful of like my really important things.
Okay,
and the rest will be a full packing job.
But okay, so you're gonna let this Gentile man handle your underwear. This Gentile man is handling your underwear, or woman. Just this Gentile person is. It may
not be a Gentile. Underwear. Maybe it's a Jewish mover. I don't know. We're not going to a place called like Oy Vey, so I don't think so.
that'd be a great name for a Jewish moving company.
I know. Should we do it? And all they do is complain and heckle you and say, "Why don't you take it if you want to move so bad? You're the one who wants to move. What do you got me carrying this stuff for?" I don't know. I mean, this weekend we are going to go through our clothes to try to get rid of stuff and not bring it at all, like stuff that we can just get rid of. But to answer your question, if I can save money, like if I can save some money in the move by packing my clothes, then I'll pack clothes. But my last couple of moves, I did nothing. They literally empty your drawers into boxes and label the box good night, good luck, and walk out.
Yeah. I didn't do that with mine. It was only big things. Only big stuff. I've moved a lot.
And
it's
you
only
pack the boxes yourself of your clothes?
Yeah. I don't want anyone touching my things. I don't, you
I'm
don't
with
know.
Dip on that. I'm with Dip on that.
And they're sweating, and it's ugh, I don't want sweaty hands all over my underwear.
Well,
you know
hold
what I
on.
mean?
Just for the record, I will say this: when they would be touching your undergarments and things of the like, they're usually not sweaty yet. It's like when they just got there, they pack the boxes and they tape them up. And they don't do it after. They don't do it after they've done all the trips, so they're not sweating into your underwear.
You don't know when these people sweat. You don't know when they start to sweat. Okay, I'm telling you, I have a lot of stairs in my house. The moment they walk up the steps, there's sweat pouring all over the place.
I have to tell you, after my 20s, when I'd moved myself with friends a bunch of times, the first time I ever paid for a complete move, I said, well, this is the only way I will move for the rest of my life. It is to me the money best spent on planet Earth. But again, SGG, Dip will sit in 43B on a 17-hour flight. There, he's not concerned about the germs and filth next to him. The men taking all his clothes in one fell swoop and dropping it in the box, he's worried about. We all have different things. I don't worry about that particularly. I've seen them do it. They do it so fast. It's literally done in 2 seconds. It's in a box and it's gone. But listen, who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind. Either way, you're right, Dip. Not a lot has been done yet. But the beauty of movers is you don't have that much you have to do. They do take it all and safely pack it up. But I'm very excited. I'm going to have an allotted space to be in when we do the show. I won't have the pack and play or the baby jail behind us, whatever it is. What's that called? Playpen? Playgate, whatever it's called. Playpen. It won't be there anymore, so we'll have a nice situation for everybody. Dip, I like that you moved some figures into the background, by the way.
I was hoping you would mention it. I'm going to take a second on these figures. So I get home from a very extended personal trip. By the way, shout out to my grandfather who passed away a couple of weeks ago, Peepaw. I will tell you his favorite. He had two favorite wrestlers. Okay, one was the Great Muta. All right.
Wow.
He used yes. When I was little, he knew I was scared of the Great Muta, and he used to stick his tongue out like the Great Muta and scare me, and that was a thing.
Did he ever miss you?
A man of taste.
He never missed me. And I will his other favorite were the Bushwhackers. And he used to see me do the dance when I was little, and he used to think that there was something wrong with me. And then finally, when I was old enough to be able to verbalize it, I would say, "No, you got it. This is from the Bushwhackers." So shout out to Peepaw.
How did Peepaw land on Peepaw as a nickname? I know Mima. I've never heard Peepaw.
It was the classic case of couldn't say grandpa, and that's how it came out, and that's how it stuck.
It was you who couldn't say it.
Yeah.
So you called him Peepaw. And
correct.
And this wonderful, loving man who cared for you his entire life, you saddled him with the nickname that had P as the first half of it. That's how you showed your love.
He loved it. It became his persona. It was his AOL screen name. It became everything.
What?
Oh yeah.
He lived for Peepaw. Is that a double?
He did.
Is that a double E or is it a P dash paw?
No, it's PEPA. Yes. Anyway,
that's how that is how Mima's done. Mima, I think, is MEMA.
Correct.
So Peepaw being PEPA is
legend, complete legend. So God bless. And so I will say the reason why I have these here, I come back from this long, horrible trip to a gigantic box in front of my door, and I open it. And I had a very casual conversation with Smart Mark Sterling, who has now become my friend, who I told you I met, through Max, who is, Smart Mark Sterling, one of the great guys of our time.
Yeah.
Okay,
I believe it.
So as you know, he does the podcast with Cardona, the major figure podcast, or whatever. And I was cavelling about how gorgeous these big rubber guys are. And what do you know? the pod sends me a gigantic box of the figures. So these were two. It was very sweet. So
how many figures they send you?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 figures.
Well, this would have been.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
If he was childhood Dipperstein would have keeled over.
I basically keeled over still.
To get 13 at once would have been just
beyond.
Bed Bath and Beyond.
But look how gorgeous. I mean, look at.
Grab the Martel. Let's take a look at the Martel.
Look at this Martel. Who wouldn't want this? This is gorgeous. I mean, you have the tortoise sunglasses. You have the arrogance. Look at the detail in these. I mean, they're really unbelievable. It's fucking beautiful,
real quick,
this thing.
Real quick, do they move or are they stuck in position?
No, they don't move. They're just beautiful statues. I mean, this belongs in the Louvre. I got Tully Blanchard back here. I mean, look at Tully. Look at that chest hair on Tully Blanchard.
So are you going to keep all of these in their boxes at this stage in life?
I haven't decided. I think I want to play with them. I think you should about playing with them.
I have to tell you something, and I want to say this in a way that won't offend anyone. I know that a large portion of our audience enjoys the figures. People enjoy the figures. The many people do.
Yeah, I enjoy the figures, not those figures, but I'm down with the.
You don't like those figures, or you don't have any, so you've never.
How
participated?
could you not like these?
They don't move. They don't do the stuff.
But LJNs don't move. You're not into LJNs.
I didn't like those either. No.
LJNs are my number one. LJNs my number one.
Every time they upgraded, I moved on to the upgrade. Like when they had the Hasbros and I saw that arms could move on figures, I was like, I'm out on the LJNs. Then when they did
I was just gonna say though, I have a lot of qualities that are very nerdy, and I have a lot of collectibles of so many different things. I am so glad I do not have the figure bug. I don't.
Oh, really? It's so weird to me that you don't. I feel like you would. I don't know.
No, my parents never got them for me. This is a really important lesson for me as a parent. If you refuse to let your child have something, it may work out that they lose interest eventually. I only had like 8 LJNs, and I never had figures around, so it never became a thing for me. And then by the time I got back into wrestling in my 20s, I didn't give a damn about the thing. And then I got the vintage shirt itch. So once I had the vintage shirt itch, I'm certainly, I'm done. Speaking of which, by the way, if you have the vintage shirt itch, Wrestling for Sale, it is going down. The San Diego Screwjob is happening November 29th, 789 West Harbor Drive, Unit 155 in San Diego. Vintage wrestling collectibles, of course, the T-shirts, tacos, cocktails, fine art, and merch galore. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the 29th, guys. What is that? Is that 1 week from? That's 1 week from tomorrow. So it's on the Saturday of Survivor Series morning. So I'm going to try to pop by there before I go to the actual. Actually, I think I can. 10 a.m. I should be good. I'm gonna pop by and say hello. And
you can make that.
Yes, I'll do my favorite thing, which is show up and pick a T-shirt that I want and hound Ted until I get said T-shirt. And I've seen the stuff that he has, and it is crazy.
I'm going to be there. I decided to go 48 hours ago, so I will be in San Diego for the Survivor Series.
Another weird trade of Dips, by the way. His method of traveling, he travels like a rapper. Like you talk to him on a Thursday, he's like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I'm going. Do you have a flight?" No, not yet. SUG, it doesn't go with his personality at all. You would think that all the dates would be selected, and by the way, and that you're not going to get the worst prices humanly possible. Like he just doesn't care. He just I'm going in the morning. It's crazy the way you.
I don't like to plan that far in advance for travel. It doesn't like. But it doesn't make me nervous that the flight is coming up in 2 days. I don't have a flight. I'll book it when I book it. Yes, sometimes the prices go up, but I think it's overstated how much the prices go. And believe me, I hate air travel, and I think
it's probably overstated.
But
it's overstated to him because he sits in the bathroom if you want a good seat at a good time, you gotta get it in advance.
Well, no, but I'm going to push back in this way too, because the airlines are bullish, and like for example, we love this topic. My San Diego flight, I'm on JetBlue, right? My flight out to San Diego to upgrade to Mint across the country, and the Mint experience is lovely, nice full meal, lay down bed, the whole thing. $300 to upgrade across the country on JetBlue. On my return,
only if you're in a certain thing. Only if you're on a certain class. If you do the Schmagegi fare, which I oftentimes do, the upgrade is not available. The Schmagegi fare does not allow you.
He doesn't even give himself
the option. Yeah. No, this is starting from like. This is just, if you get the basic, no, you can't upgrade. If you get the one above that, you can upgrade. But then hear me out. But SGG, to the point of how it's nonsense, because I've been looking at these flights for months, right? Even as of 2 months ago, the return from San Diego, the Mint is like $2,000. Like, they're just completely, they set a market that they feel like setting, and however they mess with people. So Dip is right that sometimes it could be $250 6 months in advance and $250 the day you fly. But to your point, SGG, particularly if you're flying in the toilet. Now, we are going to take our first break, and when we come back, jump right into Monday Night Raw. We got to break down what we saw, what our thoughts were on the Cena of it. We're down to 2 dates. We know what at least one of them is. We have updates on what is, do we have a physical bracket? We will get into that. So there's a lot of different things to get into. Also, the Survivor Series card, a lot more full. We'll break that down as well, and very excited. SGG has a court case to get to later in the program, but Dip and I are going to sit and talk to the great Jackson Drake, the Evolve champion, get to know Jackson Drake a little bit. Very excited about that, ahead of his NXT Gold Rush title defense against Sean Legacy on Tuesday. So a whole lot more to do right here on Cheap Heat Live on Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. You may choose an Armitron watch for superb quality, design, and value. H2O, a watch by Armitron, the hottest fashion look for your wrist, Armitron.
Welcome back to Cheap Heat Live, Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. Peter Rosenberg, StatGuy, Greg Dipperstein. Jackson Drake is going to join us later on. Very excited to have a real conversation with him and learn a little bit about him. Drake has a match against Legacy on Tuesday at Gold Rush, and Kendall Gray and Laney Reed have a title match at Gold Rush, and I get to be in the booth with Vic and Booker T for the first time. I'm so excited about it. We don't have Evolve next week, the night before Thanksgiving. We are dark, so I hope you'll tune into NXT Gold Rush. But I do think things are on the up and up these days for the Evolve brand, and it's a nice moment here on Gold Rush. So I'm super excited about that. SGJ, I feel like both Vanity Project and Kendall Gray are getting like a pretty big rub from NXT these days.
As they should, honestly. I mean, Jackson Drake is the champion. Love swipe right. So I think it's definitely worthwhile putting them on NXT, especially on a program like this where they get to showcase not just their talents, but the titles as well.
Yeah, why not? And same thing with Kendall, who I think is on the verge of a big moment. But we'll get into more Evolve stuff later when Jackson Drake joins. But if you've never heard of the kid or you've seen him wrestle but you haven't heard him, you're going to want to listen in the bottom half of the second hour, because this kid's pretty impressive for 22 years old, man. Like, we could be talking to a future very much something. So we'll dig into that in hour 2. So I was at Monday Night Raw. I got to tell you guys, backstage at MSG was an electric situation. A lot of people in the house. We saw the whole controversy with the Giants, the New York Giants being involved with the Dominik Judgment Day thing. Like, Dip, were you aware that was a controversy?
No, I had no idea.
SGG, are you? Because in New York, it was a big deal.
I saw it, and it was just like, I mean, come on. His foot is hurt, not his hands. The hands can still be thrown. As long as he just doesn't pivot on that foot, you can still throw the hands. I didn't see an issue at all.
The dude Cam Scadaboo is like become the new popular New York Giant. And Dip, he's out for the season with a really bad leg injury, lower leg injury.
Yeah.
Like, all of it got messed. The whole thing got turned around backwards. Nightmare situation. He had surgery 3 weeks ago, and he's the guy who did the pushing and shoving with the Judgment Day.
Yeah. And
so it became a great sport. I mean, back page of the Daily News on Tuesday was JD McDonough and Cam Scadaboo staring each other down. That was the back page of the paper in New York.
I guess that's what they were going for. So there you go. They won. There you go.
So old school vibes of like wrestling being in the paper, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of people are upset that Scadaboo was involved in anything physical when he's injured.
It's crazy when you bring up things like and they happen they happen that moment. So you're bringing up Cam Scadaboo and JD McDonough, and in the same breath, I'm watching. I just throw on I always throw on something on my TV while I'm doing the pod, and
to inspire.
I'm watching an episode of Superstars, and Bam Bam just shoved Lawrence Taylor like right as you said that. How crazy is that?
By the way, that is pretty. I mean, it's pretty funny. And let me tell you the best thing about Cam Scadaboo being near JD McDonough is for the first time in his career, JD McDonough was towering over someone.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, whoa.
Cam Scadaboo is like probably 5'6". He's one of these guys who's just filled with piss and vinegar, all jacked up on Mountain Dew, like, lunatic small dude. And it is an interesting moment. I wonder how planned out the physicality was. I don't know. I really can't call how planned out the physicality was, but I will say Scadaboo didn't really take anything. He just shoved McDonough, and JD took it like and then Finn kind of came up and hit him, but it was such a nothing burger. The thing that irritated me the most, and not just because I don't like the man, but because it was stupid, was that at one point, this is very small, but I noticed it. I don't know if you caught this, SGG. If you go back and watch, it's a little bit weird how long their interaction goes on for. And I don't even know, did they not show this all on TV? Maybe it's on the Twitter clip, like the social clips they put out. But Schultz actually pushes one of them.
Yeah.
Andrew Schultz like pushes Finn or JD, and I'm like, that could not have been planned. That, I will say this, that could not have been planned. No, you don't shrug. They would never say, hey, skinny comedian who can't beat up anyone, push one of our heels. That would never be in the plan. Because
Finn Balor's professional enough to know not to punch him in the face.
God, Tip, sometimes
I've seen skinny people who couldn't beat up anyone do a lot of damage on WWE TV. And not even just WWE. I feel like the only celebrity who actually went in and got his ass kicked was Will Sasso. But everybody else, whether it was believable or not.
Yeah, but they usually have an impetus for it, and it's not just going to be that they're going to do it and the heel's just going to stand there like confused. You know what I'm saying? Like it's happening in a crescendo to a moment where either their back is covered because someone else is stronger is there, or the heel's not paying attention. There has to be not just that Andrew Schultz stares a heel in the face and gives him a push, and the heel's like, I don't know what to do. I was shoved by Andrew Schultz. That's not what we want.
Right.
That's not what we're doing with the business here, folks. We're having fun, but like that's not what you're supposed to do. I mean, trust me, I say that as someone who literally, when I'm doing anything with heels on TV, I literally have to job out to them in every moment that I interact with them. All I do is put my head down and look like a sheepish, scared bitch. Now, it's easy for me to do that. I don't have to work that hard. The acting job isn't that deep. But you know what I'm saying? It is. I am very mindful of it because we care about these things.
Don't sell yourself short. What are you talking about? The acting is incredible. It's Academy Award worthy.
What I'm saying is very often, how much am I acting? when Braun Breaker is standing behind me, staring at me, pushing me in the back, and I'm just staring straight ahead like I'm scared. How much am I acting?
I think there's a possibility that you could maybe kick his ass.
All right, so what do we think, guys? It was the third to last. It was his final Raw. It was his final time at MSG. How did you feel about the John Cena appearance in general? SGG, were you satisfied with it, disappointed? Just your take.
I was satisfied with it, believe it or not. I could have been a one-on-one match, but I like the fact that at least with this Dominik Mysterio, John Cena thing, we have a story. They planted seeds for, Dom and Ray's story to continue also. And then he just got to go out there and play the hits. I don't even know if he stayed for the show. He opened the show, did his thing, hit the 5-knuckle shuffle. I like that Sheamus made sure that he was in the center when everybody did everybody's moves. Take his title, and then he's on to Survivor Series. I'm okay with that. I like that Rey Mysterio had the "You Can't See Me" patch on his tights and on the mask. I thought it was a nice little tribute to John Cena.
Dip, what were your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to bash the ending here. I'm gonna. It's become finally something that everyone is freaking out about. I think you sort of overstated it a little bit whenever you were. Oh no! You know who totally overstated it? Sam Roberts.
Oh, well, you can.
We're gonna get to Scam Roberts when we talk about.
Wait. Are you're confusing me and Sam? You're confusing me and Sam, the bald head and the beard thing. I get it.
Yeah, right.
Now, what did Sam say?
Yeah, Paul Rosenberg.
Right. You know me. I manage Eminem, and I'm also Sam Roberts.
All right. By the way,
and I'm Ebro.
Yeah,
and I'm Ebro.
Say that. I was just gonna say that. There's so many people, dude.
I'm Sam. I'm Ebro. I'm Paul Rosenberg. I'm just not me. I'm not me. I don't do. Maybe if I did more things. Maybe if I found a way to reach people in more places.
One more job.
No, but what did Sam say? What did Shill Roberts say? I want to know.
He just was going crazy about how it's built to this thing that is the crowd is going berserk and it's the biggest pops he's ever heard, and he's finally getting the credit, whatever. And I'm just like, I just wish he would have stayed heel. That's where I'm at.
Well, because you're so unsatisfied with the way that he turned face. So
yes.
But remember,
he had not turned heel.
Yeah, or there's that. What? There's
if he would have never turned heel, also fine, also better than what.
Well, you have to remember
what happened.
God bless Sam, but he is the same person who the day after the out of nowhere face turn of I changed my mind, I'm back to being good again. I sat next to Sam, and he told me how great it was, and he was able to translate to me in the moment how everything he said meant something else, and it was actually awesome. And Sam's so good at doing it that I actually sat there and was like, wow, he's right. And then 10 minutes later, I thought about it. I was like, what the hell was I thinking? He wasn't right.
I don't understand. I don't understand that. Can you rationalize that for me?
What I'm trying to say is Sam intellectualizes every word said in wrestling so much that he can find a breakdown where he's like, do you see when he said blank, what he meant was, there are people who do this with hip hop lyrics too. They will break down a bar so many ways that you're like, yeah, that Kendrick song's cool. It's not my favorite Kendrick song. They're like, no. Listen to this plus this plus this. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, but when I'm listening in the car, that's not how it hits me. I'm not stopping and pausing and hearing every word. I'm taking in the art as a whole, and I didn't get that. Go ahead, SGG.
I think the funniest part about that, which breaks down how fraudulent it actually all is. So, Royal Rumble, right? John Cena gets eliminated last, loses to Jey Uso.
Yes.
Then he goes to the press conference and he says, I'm going to be in the Elimination Chamber. I'm going to win it. And then the job is to find 5 people who can stop me. I'm going to WrestleMania. I've deserved this, blah, blah, blah. I told you guys this on the podcast, but I also texted Sam and I'm like, John Cena's turning heel. He never cut a promo this heelish before. And Sam was like, fuck out of here, basically is what he told me. He intellectualizes so much. And he did not believe that John Cena could possibly turn heel.
Wait, really? You never told us this before. You and Sam had a conversation because I remember you told us. You were the first person who said to me, "Well, yeah." I think I had a conversation that night in the building with maybe Tess and Big E where we were kind of analyzing what he did. But then you texted me, I think that night maybe, and we're like, "That was a heel promo." You're saying you brought that concept to Sam, and Sam didn't see it.
He flat out rejected it. He's like, nobody's booing Cena. It's not going to happen. Pipe dream. Then the next time we see Cena, he turns heel.
I said the same thing, if you recall. I wanted it so bad and said it's never going to happen.
You did? I certainly remember that. Well, listen, so back to the Monday night. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I don't think it was like the most epic, incredible reception we've ever seen. I will say, being in there, man, like I was up in a suite. It was awesome. Like it was very loud. It was very intense. And then I really liked the Sheamus Mysterio thing, because Sheamus and Mysterio, along with Batista and Cena, are the baby faces of an entire era. They were a very big part of that era. And so Cena was yet to interact in a real way with Sheamus and Mysterio, so it was fun to see them. Although, you can't help but think, and listen, I'm not saying I'm not excited for Cena Dominik, because it is going to be fun, but they did already have a match. Should Cena just be leading, an all-star babyface Survivor Series team?
Yes, of course.
Why?
Of course.
I don't know that we needed to have the title exchange. We could have had the Judgment Day get involved with the Cena Dominik match, so Dominik wins, unless they really cared about giving Cena the IC title, to which I say, who cares? But if the Judgment Day screwed Cena in a match against Dominik, and then Mysterio and Sheamus came out, you could have then just had a nice traditional Survivor Series match of Judgment Day and heels versus Cena and babyfaces. Let's have some fun. Old school, baby.
Here's the biggest sort of meta problem that I have with the Cena this year, is that it started out in a way where the whole thing was based in storyline. It still was like, I'm turning heel and I'm leaving and you didn't appreciate me and whatever. But the whole thing is just, I'm leaving. That's the story. The run should have ignored for a year that he was leaving, and then in the last month or so, then it becomes a thing that this is the end.
That's a good point.
But the fact,
interesting take.
So, but it should just be a great. We should have just put him in a great story. That if you wanted to put over Braun Breaker as the next big star, or you wanted to put over Dom as the next big star, or whatever, maybe he has some 6-month incredible feud with one of these people to make them the star that they are, going to perceive, or that we're perceiving them to eventually be. So, but instead, it's they made it how many 5 matches left, 6 matches left, 5. It's okay,
as opposed to some of your regular nebbishy complaining. That was a very well put together breakdown of the problem. Perhaps that the story only being that he's leaving, it limited its ability to be about anything else. It's just a story about, and it's interesting because we talked about the Flair thing a lot. The Flair story wasn't about him deciding to retire. It was about retirement hanging over his head if he lost. Mm-hmm. Different thing. Totally different thing.
It was kayfabe. It was in story. It was a
kayfabe. It wasn't an actual But this is, to me, and Dip, when you and I get into arguments about Cena and his level of greatness, and we will not argue about that he's one of the all-time greatest, whether you have him at 2, 5, 10, he's a top 10 greatest to ever do it, no problem. The reason we get into the arguing about whether it's Mount Rushmore or just outside of it or whatever it is I do think some of the things that he's done in these big moments have ended up feeling sort of formulaic. And that has always been what people's complaints were all the way back to the prime of his career, was that they knew in the moment what was going to happen. SGG.
Yeah, I have to ask you then, P. I had to put you in the hot seat. And forgive me if I misinterpreted what I saw, but didn't you say this week that there's no question that Cena is the GOAT?
Yeah, but I
video of you floating around in the...
Sure. There's a video.
Peter doesn't believe that, though.
I said I was using GOAT in sort of the new Gen Z way.
Oh, okay.
Like he's a GOAT, and you have every right to see him and be like, oh man, the GOAT, and you're not being silly, but also literally the GOAT. No, not literally the GOAT.
It's
a GOAT.
Okay.
The word GOAT has become an adjective and not a noun.
Yeah, or certainly not like a super pronounced noun. Not a title. Not a title. The only actual GOATs that exist to me are essentially Tom Brady and Michael Jordan, where when people say it, they mean it. It's oh, no, that's the GOAT. And actually most people believe they're literally the greatest to ever do what they did. Most everyone else, it's well, they could be in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would call Kobe the GOAT. You would call LeBron the GOAT. You could call this one the Tiger the GOAT, but Jack Nicklaus is still there. They're like, oh, there's very few times when it's like definitive. And in wrestling, when you really get into who is the absolute GOAT, that's really, really hard. And that's why I like kind of erring on Flair, but it's still really, really hard to say because
I don't know. The whole thing of calling Cena literally announcing him as the greatest of all time,
right?
Telling us over and over that he's the greatest of all time. It's a great way to sell tickets. Like this generation is seeing the greatest of all time for the last time. This generation is seeing if you're going to a wrestling show, you're seeing the greatest of all time. I understand it as a sales tool, but it's like, I mean, how do you think Ric Flair feels when he hears, like, I guess he knows it's a work.
Yeah, I don't think
he knows
it's a work, and he's always Flair has always been pretty generous about calling other people great.
You're right.
I don't know about always. Sorry, let me not say always. In his old age, he's been that way.
You're right. How do you think Austin feels about it?
I don't think he cares.
Yeah,
I think Austin sees his pile of money still stacking up.
I know. When you're at that level, when you're for Claire and Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock or whatever, it's a work, brother.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I always think Austin in the back of his mind knows, with the exception of Hogan, he could always go, hey, they were never getting a pop like me, brother. He knows that. Like, he knows in his mind the glass
thing, right?
break was different than anything else.
That's the thing, right? Do they care about the pop necessarily, or is it really like they are so business minded that
it's just dollars?
Really about the checks.
Well, and that's an interesting question. Do we know?
Care about the pop because we can measure that, but do they give a damn about the pop as long as the merch?
Not only do we measure it, but the pop is what gives us the feels.
Right.
So I rate them on the pop because the pop is what gives me the feel. It's like when you're in the building and you hear that moment, those are the moments you live for. And, you know, I think one of the reasons I've probably always pushed against the Cena GOAT thing, even though I love him and I think he's amazing and he's what brought me back into pro wrestling. All of these things I feel really strongly about. But I also was in the building countless times where when his music hits, and it's always a mix of cheers and boos, which to me, everyone can say, well, that just means everybody cares. Okay, cool. But from a feels moment, what feels the best in wrestling is when everyone in the crowd reacts the same way. That to me is when something truly hits. The reason the Dominik boos are hitting so hard is everyone does it. Everyone wants to play the game of booing Dominik. Of course, everybody actually loves him, but he's so good at being a heel that you're not even going to cheer him because it's disrespectful. You're booing him because he's doing such a good job. And
the respect boo. The respect boo.
It's the respect boo. Like, I haven't even seen it.
That's why we love wrestling. That's why we love it, because the respect boo is a perfect microcosm of wrestling society.
It really is. It's the whole thing. You got to boo him. I used to always get, like, you know, in the early 2000s when smart fans were becoming a really big thing, and now you can trace it even further back. Like, I'm sure you guys notice sometimes you could go back to the 80s and you'll watch like late 80s stuff, and you'll see the 20-something dudes in the crowd who are cheering the heels. Like, you can notice them now. Yeah. And you're like, oh, yeah, those were the kids who know it's a work, and they're into it, and they're cheering for the bad guys. But for the most part, what made the 80s so special was it was completely just you booed the bad guys, you cheered the good guys. Cena is really in that way different than anyone to have been the top guy and had that level of split reaction. I'll also contradict everything that I'm saying, though, and that I will say the height of extremely loud, let's go Cena, Cena sucks, is compelling. Yeah. When it got to like that level, where it was truly like a fight between fans of do you love him or hate him, whether it was intentional or not, because I think that's up in the air. I don't think that was intentional.
And see,
but
you landed on my rebuttal. You landed on my rebuttal, too, is that, like, yes, when the glass broke, everybody was into a Stone Cold. And when, you know, that guitar riff, everybody was into Hogan. But then there were points in the match where, like, it dipped and then it rose. And then when he hit that stunner, of course, at the end, you got that pop. But with Cena, that split reaction, when it hit whatever that peak was, it stayed there from when he got to the ring and then the bell rung, and then they touched, and then while they're going through every move, and he hits his 5 moves of doom, that Let's Go Cena sucks split reaction stayed the whole time. There was never a point where the crowd gave it a rest, and then they went back up.
No, or then decided to cheer at the end, even though they booed him. They still were booing at the end.
Yeah, they rode it through the whole way.
Let me say another thing.
That's just different.
Another point here. The most unsung hero of what we're talking about are the people that create the theme songs. I mean, like Cena's theme song is a huge part of why he is on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. And in my opinion, he evokes Cena's theme song. If it sucked and didn't have the pop that it has with the crowd, we could be talking about a different guy.
100%. Actually, you know what? Good question. Where the John Cena theme song ranks among all-time theme songs is a very interesting conversation. Also, I want to get to Nikki Bella and Stephanie Vicaire, and also we have limited time for your phone calls since Jackson Drake is stepping in around 1:20. So we only have till about 1:15 to potentially take phone calls from anyone, and we love talking to the Cheap Heat universe. 877-344-4893 to weigh in on any of the Cena stuff, including where does that theme song rank among the all-time greatest? Produced by Jake One, of course, featuring his cousin Trademark. What an interesting thing to, like, you're on this song that plays on national TV like constantly for 20 years. And it's also interesting that this guy Cena has evolved and changed so much as a person, but his entrance song is still him rapping. So
yeah, he won't rap now. Like if you ask him to freestyle, he won't do it.
By the way, I listened to the album this week, almost the whole thing. I've never done it in my life. The album, You Can't See Me, is significantly better than it has any business being. It's not horrible. I'm not saying it's like, certainly it's not complex, but like for the time in which it existed in 2005, he is absolutely serviceable as a rapper.
I remember him being nice though, because I remember like the Word Life, and he would freestyle diss his opponents, and like maybe I'm crazy, maybe my standards were just low as hell back then, but I remember him being nice.
No, it's just that the times change, you know, and so like what you considered nice at that time is probably not exactly what you'd consider nice necessarily.
And maybe it was a lower bar for a wrestler, like him achieving the level, like nice was a different standard, like bell curve, maybe, I don't know, but I remember being like, oh, Cena, like I wanted to see Jay-Z or Fab battle him one day.
I'm gonna tell you something. This one right here, I heard this for the first time this week. Pardon me doing this bootleg, guys, but this is how I do. This right here, Flow Easy.
First and foremost, Flow Easy. Yo. For the hood, everybody flow easy.
I mean, listen, that's Bumpy Nux. He's allowed to say for the hood, SGG. You know what I'm saying?
Corrupt mob, John Cena, trademark, listen. I embarrass MCs who touch the mic with me. That's why they never holler when it's showtime. Get me. I spit poison like a black snake bit me.
There's good records on here. I mean, that's Freddie Fox rapping, not John Cena. But like, I always loved the fact.
Like that beat though.
Yeah, me too. I always loved the fact that Freddie Fox was like I'm talking about Freddie Fox is a classically underground rapper. Like classic, like my guess would be that neither of you know anything about him except if you saw that a guy named Bumpy Knuckles was featured on John Cena's album. Like he's truly underground.
Bumpy Knuckles feels like the nickname Trump gives somebody.
By the way, based on his hand issues, it could be a nickname for himself.
We love Bumpy Knuckles.
Yeah. No, Black and Blue Knuckles should be Trump's nickname. But Bumpy was a really legit hardcore underground rapper. Also one of the most terrifying, intimidating rappers who's ever lived. So for him to be with Cena was such an interesting fit. And Ebro always tells me the story of Cena coming to Hot 97 with Bumpy Knuckles in like 2004. Like they did promo together. Like they were out on the road doing promo. It's a really
because you
epic
weren't
time.
there yet, right? You got there.
No,
like,
it's right before I got there. By the time
I totally
interviewed,
forgot about this at this point. I barely know what you're talking about right now, to be honest.
what do you mean? But you're aware that he had a rap career or an album.
He performed the album on Raw. That's the other thing that made me a Cena fan. Is like you watch Monday Night Raw, he's out. Like he got the DJ, the turntable.
No, he got, and then the turntables have to get destroyed. Obviously,
yeah, of course.
You have to have someone destroy the turntables. But no, it truly is one of the endearing things about Cena to me. And I interviewed him, and maybe I'll put it out again. I interviewed him backstage at Jimmy Fallon one time, and he basically told me he wasn't really into hip-hop that much anymore. Like, every once in a while I listened to the classics, but he'd become more of a country guy, and as he got older, like slow, ballady kind of country. But like still had love for the old school or whatever. But the fact that he was that much of a guy when it came to hip-hop and would bring in Bumpy Knucks to me is just such a cool piece. All right, so we don't have much in this hour, so we'll get more into the Nikki and Stephanie thing. I
want to talk about Becky too. We need justice for Becky Lynch.
Justice for Becky Lynch. You're talking about the former Intercontinental Champion.
Still my champion. No disrespect to Maxine, but I mean, still
your champion.
Yeah,
because I'm personally, and we'll get into it on the other side, but I'm really glad that Nikki turned heel. I am.
Me too.
I'm a little annoyed that it had to happen, but it did. And I'm glad that since it had to happen, they made the right choice. Now, the question is, what will they do with that? And that's something we'll get into later as the show goes on. So hour 2 coming up, we're going to talk to you guys. We'll get to Vincent, we'll get to Johnny, get to our other callers. And I look forward to talking to all of you at 877-344-4893. And then, of course, we'll also, as mentioned earlier, talk to Jackson Drake, the Evolve champion who's defending Tuesday at NXT Gold Rush. All coming up in hour 2 of Cheap Heat Live on Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
It's here. You Can't See Me. The ultimate hip-hop experience is selling out in stores everywhere. With 17 original easy-flowing tracks written by the champ himself, including the hit single, Bad Bad Man. The champ is here. John Cena's You Can't See Me. In stores now.
Welcome back to Cheap Heat Live, Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. Guys, you can catch us on social, all right? Cheap Heat Pod on Instagram. Cheap Heat Live on Patreon, and we're doing a Patreon tomorrow. SGG, did you say you were down too? You're down too, right?
Yeah. What time? We'll figure it out. We don't need
middle of the day. I'm thinking middle of the day sometime, and we'll do it live for our highest level, the Egg Everythings. We'll do it live with them, and then we'll drop it later for the other tiers. But if you're not a patron, we do lots of fun stuff tomorrow. We're going to watch some more games. We're going to talk some Full Gear, AEW as well. So we'll do a bunch of stuff tomorrow on Patreon. And we'd love to have you hang out. Go to Cheap Heat Live on Patreon. And, of course, I just saw there are people who found out just now that our episodes always air on YouTube as well. But you can always find these episodes in full on the Rosenberg Wrestling YouTube channel as well. So we were going to the break, and I mentioned the Nikki Bella of it all. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. It annoys me that fans boo Nikki Bella when she was supposed to be a good guy. Like, that did irritate me. I find it weird and sort of hypocritical of the like seemingly progressive wrestling audience that they like boo this person who I think SGG, the reason they boo her is because they sort of associate her with the Divas era. And rather than show her love because she fought through it and is still here and doing cool things and wants to be here in this era, rather than like showing her respect for getting through it, it's almost like they punish her for being associated with it. And yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
No, you do get it. That's exactly what they're doing. And you just don't agree with it. We're not riding with that. And but it's silly to me because I think that because they saddled her with like this Divas era title and they see her as somebody like that, they miss the fact that she actually is talented in the ring. That they don't appreciate her style of wrestling because it's not what they value or like the type of wrestler that people put on a pedestal. But Nikki Bella, she's talented, and she definitely deserves more respect as one of the veterans.
Here's my perspective on this. I think you're both wrong. Okay. I think the reason that she's booed is because they don't write good enough lines for her to say. And I think that her voice is soft and has a cadence to it that does not, if she's not saying the right thing that is cutting enough or whatever enough, aggressive enough, it makes it sound like really soft and weak.
Nah, I think that's a cop out. I think that's a cop out.
Because I think they booed. No. I think they did not seem into her from the second her music hit the first time when she came back. They maybe never not sold it enough.
That's also true. But if she had better lines written for her and she could really project just like a little stronger with delivering the lines, if they were good lines, I feel like the whole thing would turn around. I really believe that. I really believe that. I think the way that the stuff that they give her to say and the way she says it is not effective enough.
That's a fair argument. You're totally entitled to your opinion. I hear it. It's not an unreasonable argument. I just think people hate on her, and I think they're ready to boo her. And so now you turn her.
It's the mic thing. That's my opinion.
I don't fully agree. I think that's.
I love the Bella twins. I like them. I mean, they excite me when they come out, especially Nikki. I've always been a Nikki Bella fan. I think she is good in the ring, and I think she's awesome to see on TV. I'm loving.
But before AJ ever cut her promo, and AJ cut a great promo, but before AJ ever cut her promo, this generation decided they love AJ. They decided she embodies a thing that they value. Right. And because she's honest about her struggles and she's very vulnerable, and by the way, kudos to her. I'm giving her props for that. But they decided that's something they value. Nikki has been really open and forthright about her life too. She's just less relatable to people because she's a Bella twin. And so they decided to sort of be like, you were always the cool girl. Whereas the AJ brand is, I wasn't the cool girl. I was the nerd like you. And Nikki Bella was like, no, you were sexy. You were on TV. You're this, you're that. But really, Nikki was quite honest and revealing with her entire personal life as well. And has been through a lot of stuff. And also helped walk so AJ Lee could run, and yet this crowd decided they weren't interested. Now her as a heel is an interesting opportunity, and I really think that if done the right way, Nikki could be an important piece of sort of like messing with all the young baby faces in the company. She could be really good at that, like especially if the crowd's already apt to boo her. She looks physically stronger than a lot of the division. Not all of it, but a lot of it. I think there's a really big opportunity here, and I hope they let her cook.
And can I add to P, something you said that I want to touch back on? Nikki has been vulnerable about like her personal life and like, she was on Total Divas. They spun it off into Total Bellas. She put it all out there, and the fans didn't respond to it at all in the same way as they responded to AJ Lee and other people putting their struggles out there, right? AJ Lee talked about her mental health issues. The fans embraced it. They championed her for it. Nikki Bella's stuff became fodder. They chanted John Cena left you at her in the last two shows in Boston and MSG, even though that's factually inaccurate. When she came back, they said she came back because she needed to pay her bills, and they referenced her divorce and everything like that. So it's like Nikki Bella, I hear what Dip is saying about the writing and her presentation, but the more she opens up, the more people use it against her. And so that's why I'm not necessarily buying that is what it is, that the fans are critiquing her art. It
is an interesting opinion, though, because people find certain characters more relatable, they empathize and they show them love. Because someone seems different than them, they will bully them and literally yell mean things at them. When like also everyone, true. it's which is like pretty foul. Like I got to tell you, man, Nikki Bella is a tough person who's been through her share and fought through it. And by the way, doesn't need to come back. Like right. Nikki lives a nice life. She gets TV gigs constantly. She's always got a different hosting gig. There's always something for Nikki Bella to do. Her and Bree's podcast as well. And yet she wanted to be here again, and I hope we get to see some cool stuff with her. We're taking a break. SGG, have a wonderful weekend. SGG stepping out. Jackson Drake on the show next. Stay tuned. A lot more to do on Cheap Heat Live.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Get ready for the ride of your life in Total Recall, the NES game based on the Schwarzenegger blockbuster movie. Defeat the Martial mutants, secret agents, and more from Acclaim.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cheap Heat Live on Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. Peter Rosenberg, Dipperstein is here, StatGuy Greg tapped out for a second, and we bring in someone who we've been trying to lock down on the shows, man. It's very hard to get time with, okay? Because there's responsibility that comes with that title around your waist. He is the Evolve champion, the inaugural WWE Evolve champion, as you see the title next to him. If you're watching us on YouTube, the Carolina Reaper, Heartbreak Drake, Jackson Drake. Welcome to Cheap Heat, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great, and let me just say, sick podcast name, but there's no such thing as cheap heat. Any heat is good heat.
See, that's why it's
Let the
working out for
Carolina
this man.
Reaper tell you.
That's why it's working out so far, dude. Now, by the way, the reason we chose now to have Jackson Drake on the show is because there's actually no Evolve next week, but next Tuesday night, Jackson Drake will be defending the Evolve Championship against Super Sean Legacy on NXT Gold Rush Week 2. Kendall Gray is defending the Women's Championship against Lainey Reed. It's going to be a happening, and you're going to enjoy it. Let me ask you, first and foremost, how are you feeling about the prospect of these bigger shows, the NXT shows, Madison Square Garden Theater? Like, is this stuff nerve-wracking for you at all at this stage of your career, or are you comfortable with all of it?
Oh, absolutely. Dude, anything and everything is nerve-wracking to me still because I love wrestling so much. I want everything to be perfect. If I think there's one microscopic thing wrong with anything I do, I want to put my hand through the screen or whatever I'm watching myself on. Honestly, dude, I'm not even sure there's anything you or I could say to capture the magnitude of the situation. I'm walking into Madison Square Garden as the first ever WWE Evolve champion. And by God, I swear I will walk out of Madison Square Garden, NXT Gold Rush, as the Evolve champion.
So let's tell people a little bit of the story. Like, Dip, I don't know how much you know about Heartbreak Drake's story, but you've been doing this. How old are you again? 23?
I'm 22 years old.
22 years
I'm pushing
old.
30, dude.
But pushing 30? Well,
Yes.
In reality, but you've put some miles on that 22-year-old body. How long have you been doing this? When did you first get in the ring?
That's what I'm saying. I always say I'm a very old 22-year-old. I started professional wrestling. I started training in December of 2016. Had my first match in June of 2017. I was 13.
Okay.
13. That's bar mitzvah age, Jackson, right?
Yeah.
I wish Peter and I were getting bar mitzvah at 13.
Dip
I never had one of those.
Yeah, Dip had a wrestling-themed bar mitzvah that was pretty lit at 13
sick,
years
dude.
old.
Yeah.
So wait, so this is in what part? This is in Raleigh, North Carolina?
This is in Greensboro, North Carolina. The ass crack of Raleigh and Charlotte is like to
Got
call
it.
Right in the middle.
And by the way, true, but listen, say what you will about Greensboro. True wrestling country to be from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, you're from
Meant to
the thick of it. So how does this happen? How does one at 13 years old start training to become a pro wrestler?
Dude, yeah, I'll break down the lore for you. So, my dad had bought me and him tickets to Monday Night Raw in Greensboro when I was 13. Before we went to Raw, he took me to Wendy's to get some food, and we were going through the drive-thru. I had my face painted like the Ultimate Warrior. She recognized my face paint, and she was like, "Oh, you're going to Monday Night Raw, aren't you?" And we were like, "Yeah." So she said, "I actually happen to know an independent pro wrestler by the name of LeBron Cozone. If you want, I can call him, and you guys can come back to this spot after the show, and you can meet him, talk to him, and all that." And so we did that. Raw was lit. Went back to Wendy's, and sure enough,
Do you remember any of the matches from that faithful Raw?
Hell no, I'm afraid not.
Okay. Do you remember anyone? You remember who anyone who's on was on it? Was Cena on this Raw? Do you remember if any of the big names were on it?
Very important. This was my first time I ever got to sit front row at a WWE event, and I got to high five Dolph Ziggler and John Cena. Those were the first two wrestlers I ever touched. Didn't wash my hands for like a month after that.
By the way, in 2016, front row Greensboro to see Raw tickets were still like $39. Like relative to now,
a little more than 39.
No. Realistically, in that era, $300. Whereas right now it'd be $3,000.
So you go to the house show. Or do you make signs?
No, Raw, not a house show.
You go to Raw. Do you make signs for the Raw? Are you making signs? Like, are you how deep are you at that point?
Like, I mean, I'm deep enough to paint my face and all that.
Okay,
you know,
so you
decked out
painted
merchandise
at the event.
Yes.
But hold on, this was your first. You said this was your first time front row. You'd been to other shows, just in worse seats.
Oh yeah. My dad took me to other shows, but this was my first front row experience.
All right, so let's just be clear to start the story even further back. So your dad is a big fan.
No, actually, he's just super supportive, and he took it upon himself to educate himself about WWE. I got into wrestling when I was about 7 years old. And I told my parents, yo, I want to be a wrestler when I grow up. And I was 7, so like they took it with a grain of salt. Like, okay, he's just a kid still. Maybe But as the years went on, the bug just never left me.
Wow. So then jumping back, you go to the Raw. After the Raw, you go back to the Wendy's?
Go back to the Wendy's, and LeBron Cozone, the ring warrior, he's there waiting for me and my dad. And we talked about training. Like I said, I was 13 at the time, so he was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you're a little bit young to start training. Come back to me when you're 16 or something like that." But my dad is a carpenter, a very good carpenter, and Cozone just so happened to be in need of some stuff being built, like an entranceway, other things like that at his wrestling school. So he was like, "Yo, if you can help me out, if you can build me some stuff, I'll let Jack get a head start, and I'll let him start training."
Wow.
And here we are.
So LeBron Cozone was your first trainer?
Yes, sir.
And he's still going at it hard on the indie circuit, correct?
Going at it hard. DPW national champion, criminally underrated. It's extremely unfortunate. Talk about aura. As soon as he walks through the curtain, you just feel it. And I'm not just saying that because he's a father figure. Not just saying that because he's a trainer. He's just the man. The man.
In a dream scenario, if things continue to unfold for you, you'd love to find a way to get to work more with LeBron Cozone.
Absolutely. He trained me and Javon Evans.
So that was my next question. So how much later do you meet Javon Evans?
So I started training in December of 2016. Javon started training at Firestar, I believe, June or July of 2017.
Wow.
Yes.
So you guys have a true origin story together.
Oh, yeah. To say the least. Been through everything together.
So what was it like watching him on Raw last week? Like, do you have nerves when you watch Javon in big spots like that?
Hell yeah. I think the first huge thing that he did that made me go, holy I'm not sure how explicit I can be with my words on here.
You're fine with that one. You're good.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
But they'd be happy. But the people at WWE would be happier if you learned to edit yourself. So that's a good start.
I just caught myself.
You caught yourself.
Man is media trained already, folks.
There you go. Yes. You're doing great.
I got to work that filter muscle. You know what I'm saying? But my favorite wrestler is Randy Orton. Favorite of all time is Randy Orton, and Javon was the first to wrestle him. So seeing that I kind of had to live vicariously through that. I was stoked for him. I still am. Like that's incredible. My boy wrestled Randy Orton, and if he can do that, then who's to say I can't? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, to see him wrestle Gunther on Raw, who's another favorite of mine, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I can't help but see myself in that position when I see my brother, the guy who I came up with, in that position. So it's inspiring, it's motivating, all that.
This is so fascinating. I find this to be a fascinating story, and I find your situation to be really interesting. I talk with Dip sometimes after I get back from an Evolve taping, and just watching, I'm only there for a limited time. So I don't know all the things that are going on. I'm just trying my best to go through the notes to record 3 or 4 episodes at one time. And, at first it was about figuring out who the hell these people are. And now that part's gotten easier, although there is an influx of new people. But thankfully, because of the Vanity Project and Callie Armstrong and Kendall and Wendy Chu, we've had some people who are like stalwarts at this point that we have. We're building a little bit of some equity and a storyline with. But I find it fascinating that they've gone with you so hard. You know, like since the very beginning, you and Legacy in the men's division have been so critical. What is it about what you do that makes them trust you in this spot? What do you think they see in you the most that makes them say, let's make Jackson the first champion and let's keep having him as champion?
Gee, I don't know. Let's go down the list. Future legend, first ever WWE Evolve champion, the best that North Carolina has to offer, the best Evolve has to offer, soon to be the best that WWE has to offer. Pete, come on. If you didn't already know the answer to this question, I wouldn't be on your show right now. Dr.
Right.
Thirst takes the time to squeeze you into an appointment, and you waste our time with an
By
easy
the way,
question like that.
By the way,
Come on,
I'm
bro.
sorry. By the way, I'm sorry. Where and when did Dr. Thirst show up? I only recently noticed the Dr. Thirst trunks. Where did Dr. Thirst come from?
All right. So, okay, so
I pop. By the way, I'm on commentary and I say to
Thank you.
Stone live. It didn't air yet, but I say to Stone, like, did his trunk say Dr. Thirst? So yeah, take us through this, please.
Okay, so I'm a big fan of the Howard Stern show, specifically old school Howard Stern.
Wow. All right, talk
And,
about language.
A few years ago, like 20 years ago, there was this character named Sal, and he was talking about his
Sal Governale, the great Sal Governale.
Sal Governale.
Yeah, of course.
There's one episode where he talks about his adult film preferences, and let's just say it had to do with urination, right?
Okay.
And one of his favorite videos was called Dr. Piss. And I thought that was hilarious. And I was like, you know what? That's hilarious. I be taking thirst traps all the time. I'm gonna call myself Dr. Thirst.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I love this. This is so fun.
Hey, listen, the
This is
best
good
wrestling
stuff.
characters are rooted from other forms of media. So
I'd say, you know what? You're not going to hear a big argument from me on that. I agree. Taking the right influences from other places, and you twisted it. Because listen, I'll be honest. If I showed up to Evolve and your trunk said Dr. Piss, I would have been concerned. But Dr. Thirst, I think we're having a conversation.
For sure.
Why old school Howard Stern? Like, we're on Sirius right now as we do the show. Was like your dad had Sirius in the car? Like, what was the deal?
Nah, man, I just so my sense of humor is on the darker side, and Howard Stern just happened to be, that old school Howard Stern. I just resonated with it. I thought it was the funniest thing ever, and yeah.
Yeah, dude. I with Howard, I always have these my relationship goes in ebbs and flows, like depending on like, do I have a new car that has Sirius in it? Then I like resubscribe to it and I have it for years. Then I fall out. So like I have like different years, like you say old school. I have different eras in which I was like fully engaged versus less engaged. But no, he's an all-time GOAT, dude. He's
Most def.
He's a massive influence, for sure. So we've touched on the fact that this Tuesday night's a big one. You also, of course, will be with the Vanity Project, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. Where did that relationship begin? Like, I really have no idea. You guys were on the first stuff that we ever saw from Evolve. Actually, I don't remember if you were with them in the audition tape that I saw, or if it was just them in a tag match without you and Zeta. I don't remember. But
Yes.
what's the origin story of you guys and Vanity Project?
Yeah, so we actually met through the WWE ID program, which became a thing in October, November of last year. And the first time we all went to Florida together, obviously we did those audition tapes, and that's when we met. We kind of clicked off the bat. But, my character at the time, I was really just kind of a hothead, angry kid wanting to whoop some ass. Swipe right, their gimmick is that they bang girls. So at the beginning, I was like, how are we gonna, on screen, are we gonna have any chemistry together? Like, how's that gonna develop, But whoever set that up, man, they had tunnel vision, because that first real Evolve taping, obviously you and I both were there for that. We ended up in the 6-man tag match. It was us three against Sean Legacy, Cappuccino Jones, and Jack Cartwheel. And off the bat, we knew we had something. There was definitely something there. And we just kept building on it. Eventually, we added Zeta, we added Bryce, and then we had the Vanity Project. And now those are my boys. I talk to them every single day. And history makers. We're walking into MSG together, you know?
It's crazy. It's crazy how much like the and this is one of the things. I don't know if you're like this way about why you were interested in pro wrestling, but one of the reasons I think Dip and I and SGG, the reason we love pro wrestling, is some of the things like the art imitating life and life imitating art. Like, isn't it funny how like you guys are tag team partners on the air, or members of a faction on the air, but then
Sure.
in real life it starts to completely replicate that, and it becomes your like these dudes who were just dudes you got set up with through the ID program. They really do become your brothers, like as a result of doing it.
For sure. It's easy to build a brotherhood when you have the same goal, when you want to end up in the same place. You know, you got similar motivations.
So far, what's been the best moment you've had in Evolve, and what's been the biggest challenge thus far?
Dude, every time I'm in the PC for an Evolve taping, I have to pinch myself just being there. You know, the pressure never gets smaller. You know, if anything, it gets bigger as you go on. Just I think I think I'm a perfectionist, so I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. I get in my head. You know, the biggest challenge for me personally is just having to remind myself, like, if I weren't capable of putting on, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in. So just reminding myself to stay in that headspace, like, you got this. You wouldn't be here if you didn't.
I love hearing you say that, by the way, about like the moment, because you are one of the people who I can sense like on show days is very focused. You know what I mean? Like not to say like you're never loose, but you certainly become different when the show's over than you are before the show begins. You know what I mean? And a lot of times you guys have multiple things. Because you guys have been so prevalent on the show, you're the champion, for example. If there's
Sure.
3 shows in a day, you're likely on at least 2 of those shows. So how do you go about just remembering everything you're going to do? I mean, I know you guys aren't working through everything, but also like none of you are that experienced. You may be on the more experienced side because of just
Sure.
how long you've been doing it. But still, how much has to go into just remembering, I'm cutting a promo here, I have this match, then I get involved in their match. What's the process to just making sure you can keep track of everything?
Dude, you just gotta lock in. My coping mechanism involves popping a caffeine drink, popping a lip pillow, and just locking in. Just locking in. You know, going over everything, making sure I know where to be when I need to be there, what to say when I need to say it, the delivery, the cadence. Um, it's kind of like homework, you know, back in school when you'd have homework, but like you actually enjoy it. You know,
Right.
this is what I've always wanted, and I know I'm there to make an impression. So
Is it as fun as you dreamed it would be? Like, is the time in the ring and all of it as so far as fun as 13-year-old you hoped it would be?
it's everything I ever dreamed of and then some. I love it because, like I said, there's so much pressure. So like obviously it's fun, but it's stressful. You know, the nerves are absolutely insane uh going into it. But once I've wrapped up and I'm done with it, I'm I'm really proud of myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm happy for myself, but I'm very proud of myself. Like damn, I did that. I handled it. They gave me all this. They put everything on my plate and I ate it up.
Who have you marked out for the most so far that you've gotten to meet?
So Pete Dunne has produced a few of my matches. He's a chiller. He's a chiller. Love that guy. Uh Coach Corey Weston, also known as Wesley Blake. He's another chiller. Love that guy. Yeah, all these guys who I grew up watching, they produced my matches, and I'll never forget. I will never forget my whole life. After I won the Evolve Championship, I come to the back. I go to Gorilla. HBK himself gets up, walks over to me, shakes my hand, says, "Congratulations, young man." Never forget that. Never forget that.
Wow.
HBK, Heartbreak Kid himself, also greenlit me to be called Heartbreak Drake, which is my biggest flex. Probably always will be.
And how did you handle that? Did you directly ask?
No, I just pitched it. I think somebody was like, "Yo, we need more nicknames for you. Like, what Carolina Reaper, you got that, but like, what else can we? I'm gonna swipe right. We're Lady Killers, Heartbreak Drake. It's a bar. It rhymes.
It is a confirmed bar. By the way, I love Carolina Reaper from the first time I heard it. Was one of my favorite nicknames in wrestling.
Thank you, sir.
It's fantastic. All right, Dip. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, you're talking about HBK, your nostalgia rate. Like, if you're and you were talking about homework. If you are like at home on a Sunday, you have nothing to do, and you turn on Peacock, or you're about to go to sleep or whatever, and you want to turn on wrestling, like, what do you go to?
Great question.
In history, you have the entire archive of every organization and every event since the beginning of time. Like, what makes you the happiest and the most nostalgic? Like, what event and like what event and what matches? Like, what do you turn on?
Sure. So I watch a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. Some weeks at the PC, they'll be teaching us specific things, and they'll say, "Hey, go back and watch this guy, or go back and watch matches from, this era." Sometimes we're working on the old school feel, so I'll turn on some Buddy Rogers or some Nick Bockwinkel or something like that. Other times I like to kind of go back to what I grew up watching, which is Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, stuff like that. But specific, for my own entertainment, this is gonna sound weird, but I find humor and absurdity. So like HBK specifically, there's this one segment from like 1997 or something where Bret Hart, he's cutting that promo in the wheelchair, and Shawn Michaels has got his his button down shirt. And I think Raw went off the air when this happened, but HBK hits a super kick on Bret Hart. He starts unbuttoning his shirt and he just starts dancing over him. Like that, like that's the most disrespectful. Like, he just knocked him out and now he's hip thrusting over him. Like, it's absurd. It's crazy. I love
He
it.
did do that, yes.
There's nothing better. There's nothing better than that.
Is there a move, like a historical move, like Snuka off the cage or whatever? Is there something that you like would, in the future, like would you want to perfect or make your own? I know you do the moonsault or whatever, but like, is there something like you go back, you watch the old stuff. Is there like, I'm going to do the best super kick. Shawn Michaels has the best super kick. Mine's going to be better. Eddie has the best frog splash. Dom's doing the frog splash. I'm going to do I'm going to top it all. Like, what's the move?
Sure. So as of now, that would be my own finisher, which is called the unaliving.
That sure is.
Vicious running knee. As for something else that I would like to partake in and maybe become known for, I'm a huge fan of those crazy Shane McMahon bumps where he's just falling off scaffolds, jumping off 100-foot tall steel cages, crashing through these announce tables. That's something I've always enjoyed.
You think you could do it? You think you could do it? The most terrifying bumps. You think you can handle it?
Dude, I'll be real with you, bro. I'm a masochist. Sign me up for stuff like that.
You're in.
Sign me up for stuff like that.
What's the craziest thing you ever done on the indies? Have you ever done anything super nuts on the indies?
Super nuts on the indie. Okay. Let's see. I did like a little half-ass death match one time. I had a light tube thrown right at my face and it knocked my tooth out.
Oh no.
Light tube to the face.
What'd you do? What'd you do with the tooth?
I put it under my pillow, and I got some bang from the tooth fairy. What do you think I did? Nah, I'm trying to think. Thumbtacks are fun. Thumbtacks are a good time.
Wow, it sounds like a great time.
Peter, I need you to throw me on thumbtacks at some point. I want to see what.
Yeah, no, we'll work
to see that.
Maybe War Games weekend after the show. We'll go to the hotel lobby in San Diego. We'll lay out some thumbtacks and just do it.
Can I just make sure I'm there for that?
For sure.
Invite me.
Now, yeah, go ahead. No, please.
No, I was gonna say there's this one thing that I did one time, and this one I don't know if I'm gonna do again, but I believe it was August of 2023. I had a match in Greensboro, my hometown, with Javon Evans before he got signed, and another guy named TDT. We had a triple threat steel cage match. And I hit that Kurt Angle moonsault off the steel cage into the ring. Huge pop.
How'd it go? It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, I didn't crap my pants, so it was.
And you landed where you felt like you needed to land. You didn't like break Javon's face or do anything like that. Like it landed okay.
Oh, unfortunately, no water in the pool. TDT moved out of the way, so I ate it. But I was like, I just ate it, and I was like, okay, I'm not knocked out. I don't gotta throw up or nothing. I was just happy I lived through that, and I could get up and walk afterwards.
What's the so far? Have you been backstage to a big show yet? Like to a Raw or a PLE?
So I actually did extra work at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I think I saw this online.
Sure. Yeah, I was one of the swordsmen for Drew McIntyre. I believe I was actually like, I think I was the first or second person at the top of the ramp.
What was that? What was that like? Was that day awesome?
Oh my God, dude! Yeah. I mean, I was what, 21 years old, and I'm standing on the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. That was my WrestleMania debut. You know, I was super.
We'll be saying that when, right?
Yeah.
We'll be talking about it 20 years from now, hopefully, and saying putting a circle around you in whatever footage they show.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and like at the time, I was super uptight that Javon had gotten signed before me and done all the stuff before me. But after that, I was like, okay, if nothing else, I can always say I made my WrestleMania debut before Javon. If nothing else.
Are you like sure? Do you guys know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you will like one day have a big storyline together? Is it like and do you guys fantasy book it ever? Like what we're gonna do when we have our thing?
Oh, sure. I mean, the seed's already been planted. If you watch the episode where I won the Evolve Championship, who gave it to me? Who handed it off to me?
Javon sure did.
Javon did, exactly. Yeah, it's just there's too much history. There's too much money on the table there for somebody to just leave it. It's gonna happen, and it will be legendary. It'll be everything everybody expects it to be and more.
How locked in is your family week to week with Evolve?
Oh, extremely. Every time an Evolve episode airs, my dad texts me, just glazes the hell out of me, just says all these nice things. So yeah, they're my biggest supporters, and that's what I'm most grateful for. No matter what, dude, I'm 22 years old. My parents still wipe my ass for me.
Right, 100%.
Do everything for me, but wipe my ass for me. I should say.
Are you still on the cell phone family plan?
All right. I mean, yeah. Okay.
By the way, I'm 38 years old. So am I. People.
Why you gotta bust my balls like that, dude?
I can relate to it. People still say, "Who's Mary Dipperstein?" when I call. I say, "Oh, I'm caught red-handed."
You're on your mom's plan still?
She takes money from me, but yeah, I'm on the plan. It's so much.
But you're on the. I know. I hear all about the plan.
On the plan. It doesn't matter how rich you are, Jackson Drake. Okay, no matter how rich you get, stay on the family plan.
Listen, I'm on my mom's insurance till I'm 26, so I got 4 years. I'm chilling.
By the way, that's very great for a young wrestler. This has been super cool, man. As much as we've gotten to enjoy you on TV, and everybody I know who's watching Evolve, you're obviously one of the first names people point out. So it's been very cool to like have a moment here for people to get to know you a little bit and hear your story, man. I cannot believe you're 22 years old. You certainly don't seem it in the ring. And we wish you the best of luck against Sean Legacy on Tuesday at Gold Rush.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
I'll see you down the road.
Been an honor to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, Dip and I will put a bow on this week's Cheap Heat next on Pro Wrestling Nation.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Stork Chocolate Reason. If you like chocolate, then you'll love Reason. Extra chewy chocolate caramels covered with a rich chocolate coating.
Welcome back to Cheap Heat Live, Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. I got to tell you, Dip, SGG had to go to court and he missed out. I'm very impressed by young Jackson Drake.
I think he's something plus. I got to tell you, not just something. I think there's a plus sign next to his name.
In all seriousness, like I've only talked to him in short moments and watched him wrestle and do his work, of course, but like for his biggest spotlight as an interview, he was just very, very good for a 22-year-old kid. That was very good.
He's very polished. It's just so nice to see. I was just saying to Peter, like, I feel ancient next to a 22-year-old. But like, it's nice to see that like there's a generation below us who really appreciates and loves wrestling and gets it and wants to, like, he's a wrestler and made it to the mountaintop of what his childhood dream was so far, but it's nice to like talk to a kid who's 22 and has the same passion for the business that we do.
I know.
It's kind of cool. I'm like, thank God.
To think about, think about it like this. This kid was born in 2003.
It's so crazy.
Okay. So he's going to shows in 2010, 11. Not exactly the glory days of pro wrestling. Okay. No. Listen, there are some great wrestlers wrestling at that time. Obviously, you have your Cenas and Ortons and Hardys and Jerichos. And there's great wrestlers wrestling, but it's not a glorious moment in time. And he ends up becoming this, passionate enough to pursue it this way. And by the way, how cool is the brotherhood story going to be of him and Javon Evans?
The whole thing is like, I love it.
Love
it. I love this guy. I'm telling you, I have since the beginning. I love Vanity Project. We've been doing the swipe right thing for a year now. We've been doing our own swiping right.
We're swiping up a storm.
We're swiping and swiping. Javon Evans is another level. I don't know. This class there's something going on. Do you think there's something going on?
It's feeling like there's a group right here that could be having another next moment. And maybe we're biased because I'm so close to it. And you and I are obviously very in on Evolve, more so than maybe other people are who aren't yet hip to it. Although I think I actually am also going to say I think Evolve is starting to grow a bit right now as well. I think it is.
But when you base the promotion around a guy like Jackson Drake, who clearly has it all, like or will and is headed in that direction, like that's the way you build a show, is around at least one big star and his stable. Well, it makes complete sense, and it's the perfect next NXT class. Like,
I know
you could see them just running amok on NXT.
They could be fantastic. I just hope I don't lose them on Evolve anytime soon, because they make the TV like so much better. It's just so hard when you don't have acts that are easy. You can watch. All you have to do is watch Vanity Project for 5 minutes, and you get what the bit is. You turn it on, you go, I get it. Okay, I know who these guys are,
and it's current and it works and whatever. But I'm just not to, because I'm biased with Evolve with you, but I'm just going to say, if you really love wrestling and you care about the next generation of who you're going to be watching and who your kids are going to be watching and your grandkids, if you really are invested in the future of wrestling, you should be watching Evolve and paying attention to Evolve, because here they are. If you want to be invested from we didn't have this opportunity years and years ago as wrestling fans. The kids now and the people that are just getting into wrestling or who love wrestling have an opportunity to invest in somebody from the Jackson Drake days of their career. We never saw anything like that.
No, we weren't getting to see Ohio Valley Wrestling. We were not getting to see it.
No, it was on public access, or you once in a while saw it on, on a local station. But now you have it on these streaming services. You have it on Tubi. You have NXT on you have Peacock, and you have it on CW and all these things. But this, if you are a true fan and you care about the future of wrestling, you need to be watching Evolve.
Thank you. I appreciate this very, very much. Real quick, I love when I see betting odds coming down the line. We're seeing War Games betting odds. Here we go. From the Dirts. In the men's War Games match, the Punk, Rhodes, Usos, Reigns team, plus 140. The Vision, McIntyre, Lesnar team with Logan Paul is minus 180. So the world sees that as a heels match.
Yeah, I agree.
The baby faces in the women's match, which so far officially is only Ripley, Sky, and Bliss, they are the minus 225 favorites over the heel Asuka, Sane, Jax, Legend, and TBD. They're plus 160. So the baby face in the women's match are the favorites.
Yeah. Makes sense too.
Stephanie,
that all makes sense to me.
We spent some time on this earlier, and I have a lot of strong feelings. Stephanie Vaquer minus 2,500 against Nikki Bella. Not surprising. Nikki's the plus 800 dog in that match. Obviously, with things just getting started for Stephanie Vaquer, that's not shocking.
I know, but wouldn't it be just a great piece of television if Nikki Bella teaches Stephanie Vaquera a lesson?
No. Well, we talked about this some earlier, but yes, that there is an opportunity, and if you missed it earlier, make sure you listen to the whole podcast. There's an opportunity potentially being missed with Nikki Bella, and I think Dip's probably come around some since babyface Nikki was not getting the reaction they wanted, but heel Nikki is a perfect thing for this division. It's a perfect thing.
Thank God they did this. They did the right thing. I don't always say that. I will tell you, this is definitively was the right thing to do. It makes much better TV.
And by the way, do the next right thing and have her win. I'm telling you, we just saw this with Tiffany Stratton.
Yep.
These young babyface champions getting the title is an awesome moment. The longer they carry it, it becomes an albatross. It's just like pressure and where's the story? Like it's so much easier for a babyface to chase, and they put so much. And I'm no expert. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sound like I'm some writer or expert, but I just have seen it time and time again that when the good guy, especially if they're young, they get the title after a little while. You're like, I'd rather see them chasing the bad guy than just sitting there with the title. Sorry.
You are an expert.
Okay. Thank you.
I know you're not a writer, and we know that. We know our place, but we are experts. We've been watching wrestling I've been watching wrestling for 35 years. You've been watching it for 45 years.
I mean, I'll get away with you calling me an expert. You're a complete hack, but keep going.
The Bed Bath and Beyond hack. But I'm gonna tell you the right thing to do is to have Nikki Bella have the shock win over Stephanie.
Oh, it'd be such a great. The crowd will be so mad. It would be so great. The boos will be out of control. What a great way to. And then you can go into the Rumble with Stephanie Vaquera trying to win the Rumble to get the title back. There's a lot you could do there. Sorry, and then to wrap up the betting odds, this is interesting, although not surprising, I guess, because the Dirt seem to, know everything with these odds. John Cena, the champion, plus 200. Dominik Mysterio, the minus 300 favorite to win back his Intercontinental Championship.
I said it last week. He should immediately win the title back, no matter what they do, and then they put him against Cena again, and that's exactly what should happen. You know how I hate that you have to put somebody over, but. He's not leaving. He's not leaving. We know what's going to happen in this match. Dominik's going to go over. Good.
It's in San Diego. That's going to be such a fun thing. The reaction is going to be amazing and hard to predict. All right, we're out of time. The Healthinator, Kelly, Emilio, SGG. We love all of you. You're great guys. Dip, thank you.
Thank you.
Jackson Drake, thank you. Next week, we'll have a special Thanksgiving show. We look forward to that. And we have a big Patreon episode that we're doing live this weekend as well. So if you're not part of the Patreon, Cheap Heat live on Patreon. You don't want to miss it. We'll get people ready for Full Gear. We will watch some classic War Games matches. We're going to have fun on Patreon this weekend. Stay mage, everyone, and enjoy yourself. The coach is up next.